All right. My next question, my last question. So, Jason, you always say the word elements all the time. So, what are the elements of horror? And I'm going to make you go first on this one.
I figured that.
Thank you, because I was going to say the same thing. Go for it, Jay.
Oh, let me get my clock going.
So here, I'll go ahead and I'll just list mine out that I have written down for you. So obviously, I believe the main character is known. So whether it's a killer, an entity, some kind of like force or something. So I think they need to be known. You have to have the tropes. You have to have the tropes in the movie. Like it's very important for me that you have the horror tropes. No one is safe, except maybe your obvious final girl, which makes a good 80s horror movie. Atmosphere always has to be right. You know, is it dark? You know, the night, you know, the storms, things like that. You know, it's got like those tropes again. I like it when the story for the villain is known. Like there's some kind of backstory, something that kind of like makes sense, makes the movie make sense. Sometimes the element of a surprise is good for it too, but I like that. Most importantly, the music or theme. There's got to be a good music or theme to the movie. Weapon of choice. Obviously, the final showdown. You're going to have that big final showdown. And then usually there's always something that's left open for another movie to be made.
So just so you guys know, Jason hosts a show called Stuck in the 80s. It very much matches exactly what he just said. That you just listed off the 80s. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. When you sent over the, like, I would look at this, like, I don't know. Like, you know, you look at something and you go, all right, it's got the elements. Like, it needs to have some kind of, you know, scare and fear to it. I think there's got to be rules that, you know, people abide of something. And there's got to be some central atmosphere of like where it's taking place. But like outside of that, I don't know. Like it has to be like I have to be in it to like say, all right, this is like, I think element is just something now that we use. I mean, because in the past you'd say, all right, it's got to have kills, but it doesn't have to have kills. And you know, it doesn't have to. I mean, there's think of all the different genres we have of found footage and supernatural. And I mean, it could be a sci-fi movie. It could be a, you know, slasher movie. It's all over the place now to say like, what is an element of horror? I don't know. It's got to be something that somebody finds frightening probably at some point in time. The problem is what defines horror. Thriller is probably the question that is, I don't know, hardest. What do you think, Kirk?
So I sent these guys this question really, really late, and it's fun to kind of watch them squirm. So I just started I took this question as what are the types, the elements, the types where everything can fit into. And I came up with slasher, creatures, creepy kids, mad scientists, psychopaths, anthologies, supernatural, vampires, werewolves, zombies, classics, animals, aliens, disease, and sequels. And I put sequels in there because a lot of times the sequels are more comedy than horror, but it's like Army of Darkness. That's more of a comedy, but it's still a horror because it's a sequel.
You just named more genres than you did actual
that's
elements.
Not an
of
element.
horror.
Are those genres? Like,
yeah,
they're
100%.
subcategories of horror. They're
no,
not
that's 100% genres.
No,
like you just could please skip
it's
around
both.
elements.
I think it's both. I think it's both.
All right, Jason, you listed off a bunch of tropes and then said you wanted tropes, and Mike just kind of did a pull to Jason for some reason, just kind of rambled for a few minutes.
I didn't list a bunch of tropes. I listed actual elements.
They have to have a weapon, and there has to be a final fight. And I like tropes.
But how's a weapon a trope?
But it's. I mean, you're saying what is an element is almost another name for trope. In essence, right? Like you're asking for specific things. Like when you say creatures in it, yeah, that could be an element. But it's also could be a genre, right? Like I don't know. Yep. That's why I think it's very tough to.
It is very tough. That's why I wanted to kind of see it score.
All right.